Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Mortis FM podcast. I am a guy who hosts this podcast, one of them, and my name is Grayson. And with me is my best friend who loves Star Wars just as much as me, Cole. Cole, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing just fine, especially right off the heels of Ahsoka, episodes 1 and 2.
You're a fine guy who's doing fine, you know?
Man, and you're a finer guy. Make that 2 episodes in a row where we start off by complimenting each other.
I'm not going to disagree. I'm just going to end on a high note every time for myself.
But you know what? Enough about that. Everybody knows how great we are. Why don't we talk about Ahsoka?
I would love to, because we just watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm going to say right off the bat, they were great. I loved them. I was very pleased with them. How did you feel?
I was very pleased with them. The production quality and value alone is just I would say a marked improvement from things we have seen before. I will not name it.
Dum 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 dum. Oh, I'm gonna get copyright.
Oh yeah, whoops. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was
Boba
I
Fett?
mean, Boba Fett. What about Boba Fett? Huh?
I don't remember Kenobi's theme. I think it just sounds like the Spider-Man theme from PlayStation. But yeah, that one too.
It 100% does actually. But you know what? Let's not talk about that.
No,
I
you're right,
really
the
liked
production
Ahsoka.
quality.
Yeah, just first initial impressions. If I were to summarize it in like just a couple words, just say a great opening to this show.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah. To me, I'd seen some people throwing out there that, like, Dave Filoni's gone on record to say that, like, it's season 5 of Rebels, and it's all of this stuff, like, and I saw some people saying that, like, the first 2 episodes try to catch you up too much to speed on what happened in Rebels if you didn't watch it. And personally, as someone who watched Rebels, I did not feel like that. I don't know if you did.
No, like I don't know what that means. Like, why? Like, so okay, I will say that it does feel like season 5 of Rebels because it's definitely continuing that story.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. I don't think it's doing so in a way that they spend too much time talking about stuff that happened in Rebels. In fact, they really don't spend a lot of time of it at all. Like, if it feels like that's being falsely misconstrued by just watching scenes of Rebels characters lamenting over the season 4 conclusion, as being like, quote, taking too much time catching up on stuff. Okay, well, sorry, characters are dealing with stuff. So there you go.
Dude, Rebels characters are doing things. It has to be Rebels season 5.
No way.
No, it's like, to me, it feels, with Rebels, like, Ahsoka was a nice treat, and she was a side character in that show. Of course, she got her own development and things like that. But, I mean, once her departure from season 2, and then she comes back all the way at the end of season 4, like, you really take that into consideration. She's not a huge factor of that show. Like, the main characters of the show are the Ghost family, right? The Spectres. But this, it's like completely the inverse, where, like, there's no Zeb. Ezra, he's out there, but he's not here yet. Chopper makes a brief appearance. Hera is pretty prominent, which makes sense. She's a very big New Republic general. Sabine obviously has a role, and then Ahsoka, and that's really it. Like, don't talk about Kanan. I don't want to talk about it. So, like, to me, I don't think it feels like Rebels season 5, but yeah, you're right. It does feel like a continuation of those stories.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna call it Rebels season 5 because it's definitely the Ahsoka show. Like, that much is made very clear. But I think if there were to be a Rebels season 5, this is what it would cover, right? Because I mean, it just covers what happens to the characters afterwards. But it I'm not gonna call it Rebels season 5. It's very different.
Yeah. No, I think that's kind of like doing it a disservice.
I mean, fans of Rebels will be extremely rewarded by watching the Ahsoka show. I think, I mean, sorry, like they will be rewarded as having been Rebels fans because there's a lot of things that either come to fruition or like a lot of nods and nudges and stuff like that. That's like, hey man, you remember Star Wars Rebels? Wasn't that cool?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it still can be approached by non-Rebels fans because I think it delivers the, Rebels exposition in a very quick and concise manner.
Yeah, I think it gives you room to be like, okay, I didn't need to watch Rebels to enjoy this, but now I want to go back and watch it because I want to see these characters in their youth or earlier days during the fight against the Empire. So I think it works. Yeah,
man, I like this chopper droid. I want to see more of him.
Bro, I want to see him destroy every Imperial in its path.
You got 4 seasons of Chopper racking up the leaderboard.
Dude, that's just up in the top left-hand corner, just like but yeah, you were saying about the production quality. It's fantastic. I was very pleased with just how good the effects looked, both practical and CGI. I would say for me personally with these first 2 episodes, and before we kind of get more into like actual heavier plot stuff, which will be the meat of the episode, probably my favorite thing out of these 2 episodes were Kevin Kiner's music, which I know we have praised. We praised in the first episode, and we just praise individually when we're hanging out being buds because we love Kevin Kiner. But
when we're sharing a beer with Kevin Kiner,
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. He comes over to my house. I give him a Blue Moon, and he makes his music in my garage. Did you know that? Well, now you do.
He's secretly a Guinness guy, but sorry,
Kevin.
I didn't mean to tell you that now.
That's okay. I'll get it right next time, Kevin, if you're listening. But is there anything I'm trying to I don't know if we actually already spoiled anything. I was kind of trying to keep it spoiler free, but
no, we haven't said a thing actually. We actually haven't said anything about the plot. We were just talking about initial impressions.
Okay, yeah. Well, 2 thumbs up from Grayson.
Yeah, it's a real shame that Ahsoka dies 2 seconds in.
Dude.
I'm sorry. Oh no. Oh man. Okay.
Or just that clip of Don Cheadle and Mark.
Yeah,
Ruffalo.
he's like, dude.
Oh man. Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. So we will now dive into the plot. So yeah, if you're for some reason listening to this and you just haven't watched it and you just wanted to, whatever.
If you wanted a spoiler-free review, there you go. First 2 episodes are great. They tackle the situation very well. The characters of Rebels, given a good little recap. All of the performances are fantastic. Kevin Kiner slaps with his music, and I'm ready for more. So there you go. Go watch the first 2 episodes, and come back when you're done.
Yeah. This I would definitively say that this is probably the first time in a while that, at least with Star Wars television, that I have been just so amped for the next episode.
It feels like very I can tell that the plot here, like the show, is going to be very point A to point B. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of wandering, that of which I'm very excited for.
Yeah.
I really don't want to see I don't really want it to be the kind of episodic format that say that the Mandalorian takes on. Not dissing on the Mandalorian, but
I'm reading reports that Jack Black is going to be the main character of the next 5 episodes.
No.
No, I'm not.
Who's he playing as? What's his character's name?
Black Jack.
All right. Really
inventive there, dude. No, I'm like, yeah, dude, they're crazy with the names.
Bounty Hunter Blackjack.
Speaking of the, honestly, that's not bad though.
Yeah.
Okay. Plot stuff. So, first thing is the opening, which they give us. I was telling you when we did watch the episode together. I was telling you that the opening. So they did give us a crawl of sorts.
Yes, they did.
However, it's kind of one of those crawls where it's similar to Solo, except Solo was just more like flashes of letters, and now it's okay, here's all red font, and it's going down. I was telling you, and this is I guess this is not a plot thing, sorry guys, but I was telling you, I was I wish they would just kind of just go back to doing the title crawls.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not. Sorry, I sound like I'm nitpicking, but I just was thinking of with old older Star Wars stories, especially like video games and whatnot, even the video games had title crawls. And it's like, if you're gonna have a crawl, you might as well just do the tried and true thing. But it's either way. Right after the heels of the crawl, we jump straight into the introduction of our villains.
Well, real fast, I am gonna try and clear that up for you about the crawl thing. I remember when Rogue One came out, there was a little bit of discourse about like why it didn't have a crawl.
Yeah,
I remember I don't know if it was Kathleen Kennedy, but it was some sort of some studio exec that basically said that they were reserving this like real story opening crawls for like Skywalker saga, main saga type stuff.
Yeah, I heard that, and then recently, I don't know if it was at Celebration, there was an interview where I believe it was Kathleen Kennedy saying, like, you know, we're bringing back the crawl, and I was like, well, then what was the point of?
Man, they gotta make up their mind.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't not done that yet. I don't know if she was counting this as a crawl, but I mean, either way, it really does not affect me. I still very much enjoyed kind of the opening exposition of it.
I think it still keeps the core integrity of Star Wars, you know, like just having I think personally, my personal favorite of the way that it's been done is probably Solo. Because I really like the way it introduces itself, and it uses the same font and style as A Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the music is it kind of like it kind of sways back and forth as the text pops up, which I really like.
Yeah. But yeah, just wanted to say that I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's proceed into the episode.
Yeah, so immediately, I mean, I love the opening. You and I were like very pleased with the opening, but we get our introductions to Baylan and Shin, who I just gonna go and get this out there that like I am very much enjoying their characters. I know little to nothing about them, other than Baylan definitely was a Jedi. Shin we don't really know much about. But I am really enjoying their characters. They feel very different. And sorry, I need to go ahead and mention before I forget this, because I will forget. The first episode had a lot of parallels with The Phantom Menace.
Oh, yeah, absolutely did.
Like, I don't, and it's just like little things, right? Like, I don't want it to be like, yo, this first episode, it's like The Phantom Menace because it's episode 1. I'm not trying to be like that, obviously. I'm just saying, like, it opens up and we get this ship that goes into this New Republic ship, and we have, you know, 2 hooded, quote, they say they're Jedi, entering this ship. And I'm like, oh, this is very similar to Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Of course, things go awry, except, you know, with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, they were kind of turned on. It's the inverse, where Baylan and Shin just start cleaning house on this New Republic ship to rescue Morgan's Elsbeth. And it was just very well done. I really appreciated, like, really enjoyed the action of it.
In that moment where we're both introduced to kind of the character dynamic, Baylan immediately gives an order to it's pronounced Shin, right?
Yeah, Shin Hati, and then
and she like immediately goes to town on these guards, right? Like doesn't say a word. In fact, like her first line is actually a while like in the future of I think it was that episode, but she doesn't speak for a little while. Like she really doesn't do a lot of the talking. It seems to be just Baylan.
Very similar to Maul.
But yeah, her fighting style is very violent, very aggressive, whereas Baylan is very structured, very very fundamental.
Yeah.
And so it reminds me of kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to get into like too much of like nitty gritty of lightsaber stuff, but it reminds me of like Form 1 users and stuff like that, where like they're just going to the base fundamentals of lightsaber combat. It seems rigid, but in actuality, it's extremely focused.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of like just straight vertical and horizontal slices and blocks, and not much a lot of like, you know, big swings and like diagonals. It's very rigid and composed, but strong.
Like controlled. It's not really all that flashy, but these two immediately, like from like ever since the trailer, but now even more so since we've seen the first 2 episodes of the show, they give me like really good vibes of dark side Force users post Empire in Legends. You know,
yeah.
kind of like a better version of, you know, like
Don't
Jarek.
say it. No,
Totally
no.
no. Wait.
Yeah, if anybody knows Jarek from Dark Forces 2, that old creep.
Yeah, they're, you know, like I really like this. I really like those types of characters where they are not really, I mean, they're not Sith and they're not Jedi. They're just kind of doing their own thing, and they feel like their own force, their own faction on their own. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, their motivations and what side they align with is elusive.
I was about to say, we still don't know fully their motives. We get one piece of dialogue from Baylan later on, and either, I want to say the first episode, maybe the beginning of the second, when they go to whatever, where they have like the basically the Stonehenge.
CTOS?
CTOS. Very on the nose. But yeah, like they're talking about like power, right? But we're like, what kind of power?
Yeah, actually, that does help clear things up. So Sheen does not speak until the second episode.
Is that really the first time she speaks? I thought she spoke. Did she not speak to Sabine?
I don't think she says anything. I don't think she says anything at all. Like, I mean, obviously viewers and myself, you know, I'm going to fact check myself on this later, but the first thing she says, I think, is Master on CTOS. That's the first time she speaks, I'm pretty sure. So that kind of, you know, more Phantom Menace vibes, like you said, more kind of Darth Maul-ish. Because, you know, actions say a lot more than words, and in that kind of situation, do you really need to speak?
Yeah, very much a subordinate.
Yeah, so like as of right now, their motivations seem to be power. At least Baylan's are. Yeah. But at the same time, he seems kind of lamenting and mournful over the loss of the Jedi. Because in like that second to last scene, I think in the second episode, I believe.
Yeah, he says something to Morgan. It's like it'd be to talking about Ahsoka, like it'd be a shame to kill her. There's not many Jedi left, and she's like, is this pity or something along those lines? And he said, just truth. And I'm like, he's like, we were just talking actually to my dad, who walked in the room right before, right after the second episode ended, but very much he was like, yeah, I like him a lot. Like, he's not the stereotypical like mustache twirling, just super evil dark side user. You know, we were talking about last week, like how much I love Maul, right? And how vicious and evil he is. But like Baylan is not that at all. Like he is very much like Ray Stevenson, may he rest in peace, was talking about him at Celebration and was saying that he's very much kind of like a Arthurian knight. And I think that just tracks so well. Like he knew exactly what he was talking about. Like he feels kind of like a dark knight. Like he's on this noble quest. Sorry, not Batman, but he's on this quest, but so far, like he has not seemed inherently evil. You know?
Yeah. If I were to put it into D&D terms for any of the nerds out there, probably like a Oath of Vengeance paladin, you know?
Ooh, I love that, dude.
Like that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this guy, and I can't really say that he is inherently evil. I mean, obviously he's got some dark side stuff going on.
Yeah.
But you don't really know what his allegiances are. He's currently helping Morgan, like with, you know, finding Thrawn and stuff like that, but it kind of seems like it's for his own agenda. And that's stuff that I really enjoy. I really like it when characters are a bit more gray in what they do, and so I'm intrigued to see where that goes. But anyway,
it kind of feels, speaking of these D&D terms, the whole, you know, antagonistic party feels very much like a D&D party. You know, like they have like certain links where it's like, you know, you've got Morgan, who's kind of the leader. She's not the fighter. We find out, by the way, she is actually at least we don't know if she is a Night Sister, but she is of the heritage of the Night Sisters at the very least.
She's descended from them.
Yeah,
at the
which
very
I think
least.
which I think makes sense why she probably doesn't look, someone like Marin or Ventress or any of, or either Talzin, where they have the very pale skin, but she still has some of those tattoos. So I think it's in her blood for sure. But yeah, so she's kind of like the leader of this party, but then you've got Balin and Shin. Balin kind of being like the master of Shin, but Shin being a little bit more like very aggressive but reserved and extremely capable fighter. And then we've got, I want to go ahead and just cover all the villains here because we've talked about most of them. I don't really have anything to say about Morgan other than she's kind of the proprietary force of finding Thrawn.
I think she's definitely been promoted in terms of character.
Yeah,
since Mandalorian.
Yeah, they only had one episode in season 2 of Mando to like really flesh her out, but like I was not expecting that she was going to play such a pivotal part of this show. But so far I'm enjoying like the role that she is, kind of plays in this search party for Thrawn. I'm a fan. But then we've got a character that I was willing to put money on, which this still could happen. I still got one more episode before my money is gone. That it's Marok, this elusive Inquisitor mercenary, who, as you noted when we watched the episode, we know this for a fact that Ahsoka is just the master at demolishing Inquisitors.
Yeah, and you know what? Just before I lose this thought, I'm gonna tell you why she demolishes Inquisitors so easily.
Okay.
Because a lot of the Inquisitors are trained by Vader, so she would know exactly how they work and how to counter them. I'm just saying. That's probably why it makes it so easy for her.
And the thing is like with her not. I mean, she didn't beat Marok, but it's like noted that the Inquisitors are. Their power was only so limited, right? They basically the Emperor didn't want them to get too powerful in the case that one of their their dark side ambitions got too strong. That's why Vader absolutely dunks on Reva in Kenobi.
Yeah, he made sure they stayed in their lane.
Right. So they have a certain kind of power limit. But Marok, I mean, now that he is seemingly the last Inquisitor alive, we don't really know that for sure, but the one that we know right now, he doesn't have a higher power to, cap his power out, like he's able to kind of now step outside of those rings and get a little more powerful, but he was super dope. Himself. Yeah, exactly. Like he doesn't even seem like he's really that associated with Balin and Shin. I want to throw out this analogy. Oh, that's right. I showed you the movie last year. Oh, okay, maybe you'll get this. Marok reminds me, for any Tron Legacy fans out there, he reminds me of Rensler. Anybody knows who Rensler is? He is.
Yeah.
You remember him in Tron when I showed it? Yeah.
Yeah.
The design is very similar. He's silent. He's cold. But like, dude, you just can't help but be like, this guy's cool. Like it's.
Oh man, I mean, as long as he doesn't get dunked on in the future, he has the potential to be one of my new favorite like antagonists of Star Wars. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he died. Yeah. But he seems to be holding himself up well.
Yeah, like I mean, the fact that he held himself up against Ahsoka, who is very much at the height of her wisdom and discipline and power. I would say, at least. I mean, she was taking out droids, these HK droids left and right. Sorry, by the way, we forgot to mention the, I guess how Ahsoka tried to rival Oppenheimer with the droids in the beginning episode that were just literal nukes. Like, where are they getting that at? What was that, dude? I mean, I'm like not mad, but...
I definitely missed the HK upgrade manual where they decided to put nuclear weaponry inside their chassis.
That's why they skipped like 40 numbers, is because they were like, yeah, we didn't have, like, we've been gone for like all these years. We decided to put like actual just surface level destroying nukes in all of our droids. You're welcome.
Yeah, those droids are really cool. Like red electro staffs. Dude, those are neat.
They were
I love seeing them fight. They definitely seem to pale in comparison compared to HK-47.
Yeah, sorry, they can't be my boy HK.
They can't be my boy HK. But yeah, I guess to kind of sum up like the villains, they're cool. You know, I'm eager to learn more about Marok. I am kind of like, there's a part of me that's thinking that that there isn't going to be some big reveal about him. Like he might just be that, you know, silent type.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm cool with that. You know, I'm all right with it being an original character. I would definitely prefer for him to not be, you know, one that everyone, you know, always points at, which is Starkiller.
Yeah.
You know, here at Mortis FM, we love Starkiller. We do.
Yes, I do.
But if you're gonna introduce him into canon, you know,
do it right.
Yeah, don't do it like this, unless you like have something real neat under your sleeves to show us in the next couple episodes. I'm fine with him being an original character.
Can you? I would like to actually post this on socials. Speaking of kind of the Starkiller thing, little sidetrack. That artwork that we keep referring to, which we love. Could you later on? Doesn't have to be today. Could you find me the artist of that? Because I want to post that for people, and I want to give them their due credit. There is some beautiful artwork. We will find this artist and we will let you know, and I will post it to our Instagram. By the way, we have an Instagram now. I've been working really hard on it. It's at Mortis FM. Very simple, very straightforward. Please go follow, and it'll be great. And I'd love you if you did. But yeah, there's a really cool piece of art where it has an art style very similar to the Mortis gods. Where instead of the father, the daughter, and the son, it is Anakin, Ahsoka, and Vader.
Man.
And it's just really cool stuff. It makes me be like, man.
Or it's Ahsoka, Anakin / Vader, and Starkiller.
Yeah, it's basically like left to right, like Ahsoka on the light side, Anakin, and then it's the halfway through the middle it switches to Vader, and then we get Starkiller. And Starkiller is in his Lord Starkiller suit, but it's like in an Inquisitor suit. And right behind Starkiller is Starkiller Base. It's just kind of just foreshadowing. I don't know what it could mean, but I just love the artwork, and it just makes me like want a really true. If they bring Starkiller into canon, I want his story to be done right. I don't love him. Here at Mortis FM, to follow along with what Cole said, we love Starkiller, but we do not love him for his video game godlike abilities. Everybody. Right. I'll save this for another episode. We have. I'm sure we will do a full-fledged episode on the Force Unleashed. I'd love to do it.
I could tell you an essay about like the misconstruing is that a word of Starkiller's character.
Yeah.
I would be happy to give you a speech about that, but we are here to talk Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And so with that said, Grayson, we've talked about the villains. What do we think about what do we think about the heroes? What do we think about our cast?
Do we want to start? I want to start off with Ahsoka. She is the titular character of the show.
Got to.
I'll be honest, and this is not a bad thing, not a negative for me. Ahsoka is not the most interesting character in this show to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
I definitely think she's going to have an arc, and I'm really enjoying the dynamic between her and Sabine. I'll be honest, okay. I was really worried, and you know this, I was really worried because all the implications were pointing to Sabine being Force sensitive, to her being then they revealed that she was actually, you know, for a time trained by Ahsoka, and this is all confirmed in the show that like she was Ahsoka's Padawan, and Ahsoka seemingly gave up on her, or they gave up on each other. The details are still unclear right now. But I was hesitant because I was like, dude, like nothing was set up in Rebels for Sabine to be, you know, like to be a Jedi, to be Force sensitive.
Right.
And they've stuck to that story. Huyang, by the way, Huyang is fantastic in this show. I'm so glad they got him back.
One of my favorite droids.
Yeah, he's amazing, and just what a welcome addition to the show. It's like a really cool addition. But you know, he says to Sabine, like, you know, compared to some of the other Padawans, like you would bail. Basically, like you are, from what I can tell, you are like not nearly as. I don't want to say like weak. That's not the case, but she's he does basically just say, like, you know, you're not on their level, and she's like, okay, thanks, appreciate it. But
I think the way that they're trying to explain it is that, and you know, this does carry the risk of upsetting some Star Wars fans that don't like some of the things introduced in the prequels, and that's okay.
Okay.
If you were to take it in the context of midichlorians, which does not say, which is not, you know, a metric of how powerful you are.
Yep.
It's more a metric of like your aptitude for it, I think. So like I think anybody could become like as powerful as Master Yoda if they wanted to, but depending on their midichlorian count, that tells you how much like effort you're gonna have to put
exactly
in.
You know, it's why Anakin, people are always like, oh, midichlorians are stupid or whatever, and it's like, it doesn't determine how powerful Anakin was. Anakin got so powerful because he had such a high midichlorian count that's like, it was so easy for him. There's a reason he became a Jedi Knight by the age of like 20. Like
he reached a power level that Masters would not be able to reach in like, you know, decades, right?
Yeah.
And so I think what they're saying, because they haven't explicitly said in the first 2 episodes that Sabine can't use the Force. They haven't said that. They've very clearly been tiptoeing around that. So the way that it sounds to me is that she just has a very low midichlorian count.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that she can't use the Force. And so I am 100% on board for a moment where like she reaches out and there it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's going to be almost like the inverse of, say, someone like Rey, for example, right? Rey also very easy. I mean, you know, in The Force Awakens, she's like struggling for a little bit how to use it, but then something just happens and she does it. Like, I want to see a longer more drawn out process with Sabine, you know, like I want, and I think, I mean, so far from these 2 episodes, like I said, I was worried, but now I'm fully on board. Like I'm really on board with the idea that like Ahsoka sent something in her, like even if it was so small and was like, I want to give this a shot. And I'm sure we're going to get exposition on how that happened and whatnot. At least I hope so, because you know there has been a little bit of a time gap from the end of Rebels to now. Technically, the end of Rebels takes place during Ahsoka, you know, but you know, anyway, I'll say I'm a fan of Ahsoka and Sabine, and especially Hera. Hera has been nothing but great these first 2 episodes, and I'm very pleased with Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera. Like I'm a Kanan and Hera diehard, baby, and I'm happy.
I would say that all of them really capture the personalities of their animated counterparts very well.
Oh yeah.
Like I can see a lot of Ahsoka's character in you know, the animated Ahsoka's character in the way that Rosario Dawson portrays her. I think she does it very well, and at the same time, like I have also noticed that I think Ahsoka does have a bit of an arc going on.
Yeah.
She seems like extremely determined. As Balin says, her determination is vivid. She's elusive within the Force, but her determination is vivid.
Yep.
She's got a mission that she needs to carry out, but she also seems, you know, for whatever reason, she was unwilling to continue Sabine's training at some point in time. Perhaps she got frustrated with Sabine's, ineptitude within the Force, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I think it also has something to do with them kind of butting heads and clashing.
Yeah, and they're clashing, and they've got some differences in personality and training styles, but you know, now they're back together again, and she calls her Padawan at the end, so you know she's back in training, and that's exciting.
In the Mandalorian armor too, which is nice.
Yeah, right.
Although, let's be real, that helmet is barely gonna be on. Like,
Right, yeah.
she brought that helmet, and I'm like, listen, like, I mean, even in Rebels, Sabine barely wore the helmet, so I'm not really worried about it. I just think the visual of like Sabine holding, which now is her lightsaber according to Hugh Ang, so because of her modifications and whatnot. I think it's a cool visual, and I'm just really interested. Like, we still have 6 episodes to go, so we still got a month and a half till we get to this finale, which is I'm just part of me is I'm like, man, I just want to see it all right now, but also I'm like, man, I'm just so excited to just soak up this next month and a half. Like, I'm just I'm eating it up, man. I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
We need to edit that out.
Is that copyrighted?
Yeah, I'm very excited for the potential of this show. I think it's portrayed I think it's introduced itself extremely well.
Oh yeah.
And if they keep this energy throughout the show, I mean, I'm on board. It took its time. It wasn't rushing it like everywhere. I thought that all of the character moments were great. I think the performances are fantastic. And I'm just really, I'm so intrigued as to where this plot is going, because
yeah, man.
I mean, like, what is going on over in, this other galaxy? And we get a name, not really a name drop, but Morgan says that this star map structure thing was created by an ancient civilization from another galaxy. She didn't
KOTOR lesson.
She didn't say Ricotton, but she should have. But yeah, and there's just a lot of unknowns. I've noticed that Star Wars lately has been doing a lot of things in terms of showing us material and things from like eons ago, but never really saying what it is. And so I'm eager for them to finally shed some light on what exactly happened in the past. Who were these civilizations? What happened with the war with Mandalore? Where's Revan? I mean, I'm just, just saying.
They've just kept it very vague with like the history books, because Legends, despite your thoughts on Legends, I know there's some Legends haters. They think it's silly, and for me, I love Legends despite some.
We love Legends in this house.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Legends and canon. You can do both, guys. Just letting you know. But with canon has done. It just kept the history very close to the chest, because it doesn't fully know yet. I know we're gonna get James Mangold's movie, which is gonna be like about the first Jedi. This could possibly.
Oh, that's still happening?
Tease some stuff. I think so. What do you mean?
I just haven't heard about that stuff in a while, but.
I mean, Celebration was only like 3 months ago, bro.
Yeah, I know. It's just like I'm gonna call it confirmation fatigue.
Yeah.
Or like announcement fatigue, because Star Wars has announced so many projects that just fell into the trash.
Yeah.
You're right. Like now whenever someone talks about, I can't wait for like Blank's movie, I'm like, is that happening still?
Yeah, like Rian Johnson's trilogy, Taika Waititi's movie. Like, there's a ton of stuff that it's like, will it or won't it? I don't know, but some people are saying that James Mangold's movie will not happen because Dial of Destiny got poor reception or whatever. And I'm like, I like Dial of Destiny. I think it'll be fine. But yeah, back to the history thing. Like, little KOTOR lesson for anybody who unfamiliar with Knights of the Republic. I won't give it away for the whole thing. If anybody who wants to go and play it, it's a great story. But one of the core components of that original game were star maps, and the creator of those star maps were a civilization called the Ricotans. They were an ancient civilization that they had very advanced technology before they kind of disappeared or went extinct. I can't exactly remember, but the iconography of the map that Ahsoka finds is. And of course Morgan Elsbeth and the rest of the evil gang uncover is extremely similar to the visuals of that technology, and her vagueness makes me think that it's something to do with that, and it's kind of a little treat to fans. But like you said, I don't know. It's not that like they didn't say Ricottan Prime. They just didn't say it at all.
Yeah.
And they did say the name of the location that they're going though, which is Peridia or Peridia.
It was like the path to Peridia or something like that. Let me look that up.
Yeah. You're gonna look it up right now?
Yeah, I'm just gonna check.
Yeah. There's also another Legends kind of slight reference. I wouldn't even say, just kind of a name commonality, but the name of that giant hyperspace ring that we saw is called the Eye of Scion, and that's a big boy, which is pretty cool. That thing is insane. But I mean, we were just talking to my dad as well that I didn't realize like they're gonna need a ton of power to be able to get to where Thrawn and Ezra are, because there was, I don't know specifically how many Purrgil launched Ezra and Thrawn into the like out into literal,
a whole colony look like.
yeah. So I'm like, I mean, you got to think like those things can just do that. So yeah, I mean they're gonna need a lot of hyperspace power. I don't know.
Well, the way that I see it, so like basically they're constructing a massive hyperspace ring.
Right.
I believe that's what it's called. In fact, Grayson, you want to fact check me on this while I'm talking about it?
Yeah.
So just like on if it is called a hyperspace ring.
Yeah, I got you.
But basically it's used, like you'll see it in Attack of the Clones, where Obi-Wan puts his Jedi Starfighter into one of those rings, and then it jumps into hyperspace. Now that is for something that is basically meant to carry a ship that does not have its own hyperdrive.
Yep.
As to why they're using like this massive one, I don't really know what they're trying to take into hyperspace. Because there's, as we saw, there was a lot of open space. That looks like it could fit like a super Star Destroyer, right?
Yeah, it was massive.
Yeah, but super Star Destroyers have hyperdrives, so I'm not really sure what they're. Although it could be because they're putting this like really massive hyperdrive into the thing so that it can carry. What I was thinking, it would carry them all the way to this other galaxy, because the way that it looked on this map, this galaxy that they're going to is like 5 or 6 galaxies in terms of a distance from where the regular Star Wars galaxy is.
Yeah.
So they're gonna need really big firepower in order to get there without it taking months, years, who knows how long.
Yeah.
Because one trip from like the core to the outer rim already takes a while.
Yeah. They kind of glance over that when you're watching content. Like people just think like, oh, it's just instantaneous. It's like, no, sometimes it takes a while.
Okay, yeah, it is called a hyperspace transport ring.
Yeah, so I didn't feel the need to correct you because you were right.
Cool. Yeah, so they're trying to take something, or just trying to get
take something back.
That's true.
Because
that's very true.
Like,
I didn't think about it that way.
I only just thought about it when you were talking about it, but like allegedly Thrawn is like assembling his fleet, like he might have a fleet out there. We don't know.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, like he might be they might bring that whole thing to be like, maybe they don't have hyperdrives out there, like not only do we need to get there, but we need to be able to get back, and we need to get back with all of the stuff that Thrawn has.
Yeah, that's very intriguing. I'm willing to bet that's probably what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we don't know much. I don't know much about if their backstory has been, or her backstory has been revealed, but like that she was a close associate with Thrawn. So something feels like it's keying in that she might have an idea of what he was planning. I mean, she literally, like, as we see on Corellia, she like oversaw a lot of his a lot of manufacturing for his stuff. Like, she was like a loyal servant to him. So
yeah,
it might be all for the greater plan. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's so, like, that's the thing is, I finished up and I was like, yeah, like there's so much to talk about, but there's also so little, right? Because it's like, I don't know anything, man. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, we've, questions were answered, but many more were put in its place.
Yeah, and I'm all here for it, man. Like the lore, and lore dump and everything. I'm enthralled, truly.
Yeah, I'm very very interested. So
yeah.
That's a good thing. I'm glad that I'm excited and intrigued about the what ifs of just really what's going on here.
Yeah.
And personally, I really don't want to see it resolved just in the show. Because I feel like they're setting up this to be a big thing, like a big event.
Yeah.
So like, what with that movie that Dave Filoni is supposed to be making?
Star Wars Avengers.
Star Wars Avengers, baby.
I will say that to the end of time until it comes out. But yeah, no, I definitely think that's what they're leaning towards. The rumors, from what I know, is that Filoni's movie will be the main villain will be Thrawn. Which makes sense. I mean, they haven't even gotten to Thrawn yet. I can't imagine that like they're gonna get to Thrawn and take care of him all in this one season. Like currently, there are 4 main villains that are undealt with.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, so I'm at this point I'm seeing the vision that Thrawn is the end goal, but not for this show, for something possibly bigger.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to, which I mean, this is also rumored to possibly happen in the movie, but my dad was mentioned like why is Ahsoka not? I'm sorry if anybody is familiar with the Batman Arkham subreddit. Like I'm just thinking of like the why didn't Ahsoka get Luke? Is she stupid? Like it's I'm sorry. That's such a niche thing that's not Star Wars at all, but that's immediately what I thought. But it's like no, it's like a fair point. Like don't you think Luke would be want to know about this? I guess I know he's busy doing his own thing. My dad said he's like, nah, he's too busy getting his robots to build him rock houses. Like but I'm not too worried about it. Like
Luke's doing his own thing right now, and let's be real, Luke has done enough. Okay, Luke has worked his back off. Him, Leia, Han, Chewie, like carrying the rebellion, right? While Ahsoka was off doing who knows what. And now, I think I'm okay with giving him the chance to take a break.
Yeah, plus it's Ahsoka and not Luke, and while I understand the kind of fan demand of having like big characters show up in these shows, Book of Boba Fett kind of just gave me like I was like, okay, this is a little too much. This is a little like the fact that in Book of Boba Fett, which should have been a Boba Fett's show, it more so continued. Mando and Ahsoka showed up, and Luke showed up, and it was just kind of like, this is too much.
That's that's another story for another day, man.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So, I feel like we should maybe wrap up this discussion, and I want to apologize for anybody who feels that this discussion has been very scrambled. Cole is feeling a little under the weather, and to be honest, I'm quite tired myself, so my thoughts are a little all over the place. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Is there anything? I know we have. I'm sure we have glanced over a ton. Are there any like little things that you think of, or little like mentions that you just want to kind of be like, that was awesome, that was cool, no further discussion on the matter? I'll start. My little one was that I loved seeing Clancy Brown appear as Ryder Azadi from Rebels as himself. I believe this is now the 3rd or 4th character he has played in Star Wars. He played Savage Opress. He played that Dathomirian. He played that Deveronian guy in Mando Season 1 that got crushed by the door. And then he played Ryder Azadi in Rebels animated, and then came back to do live action, which is great. And also, Jai Kell was in it, which I was like, that name sounds really familiar, and it is. It's because he's in Rebels as well, and I thought that was a really cool little acknowledgement that they did.
So I guess I'll say something that there were a couple things that really stood out to me. One,
Yeah, go for it.
I really enjoyed Sabine's intro.
Dude,
Her
man.
speeding on like this the Lothal highway out of the city, listening to some space punk rock basically.
Yeah, man.
And then like swerving these are they High Republic
E-wings.
guards?
Oh, I don't know. I know the ships are called E-wings. I'm assuming they're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, but like her pulling that maneuver and like sliding underneath the E-wing,
Yeah, it's
was
slick.
very cool. And not to mention like just her listening to the music, I was just like, oh yeah, this is Sabine for sure. Just the way that they introduced her, I was just like, all right, I think we're in good hands, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was very pleased.
And then I just thought that I would bring up, just since we like very quickly pointed this out while we were watching the show, the murals in this old Night Sister temple, or what was it, an old Jedi temple at the beginning?
The one they said it was old Night Sister grounds. Like Elsbeth said it was like grounds of her descendants.
The mural on here, like originally we couldn't really figure out what kind of species was on there.
Yeah.
But it's possible that it could be related to the Ones, or basically like the Mortis gods, which is very just on brand and like thematic convenient for us even.
What's up, Mortis FM, baby?
What's up, guys?
Here.
Mortis FM.
We're out here with Thrawn.
We've got the Father, the Son, and the Daughter in our backyard.
Well, one's dead, the other's dead. They're all dead, actually.
Yeah, they're all dead. Spoilers for Clone Wars. Sorry about that.
You didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it.
My girlfriend actually got mad at me. I forgot to warn her. Which I will tell her not to listen to this one because she needs to catch up. But we spoiled some things in the first episode, and I was like, "Yeah, you need to listen to the first episode." She was like, "Okay," and then she was like, "You spoiled so many things," and I was like, I forgot.
Oh man. Well, it's okay. In time it'll be forgotten about.
I asked her. I was like, okay, so what specifically did we spoil? And she was like, well, in Andor, you said he like killed his friend, and I was like, that was Rogue One. We watched that one.
Yeah, that's Rogue One.
And then she was like, okay, well, still. And then she was like, in Clone Wars, the Order 66 happens, and I was like, okay, like that's fair. That is fair, but it also you knew I was wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, might as well just on record just say you were wrong and we can call it a day.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. By the way, there was one other thing I wanted to mention to get clarification. Way back in the beginning, we said that there were some parallels in the first episode to The Phantom Menace. We already acknowledged the opening. Another huge parallel, in my opinion, was Shin scouting out to find the map with the little probe droid. Almost identical, not even just in visuals, but in sound effects and in the way the shot is taken to when Maul is on Tatooine trying to scope out is he on Tatooine trying to find the Jedi, Padme or Anakin? I'm sorry.
Not Anakin.
Yeah.
He was sent to find Amidala. He was sent to find the queen, because if you'll remember, like, Newt Gunray is like, "Yo, we lost the queen. She escaped." And then Sidious is like, "This is my apprentice, Darth Maul. He will find your lost ship."
Yeah.
So yeah, he was trying to find the queen.
Gotcha. All right.
Trying to find Padme.
Thank you, Cole, my resident Phantom Menace expert. I love
you. Got it. Phantom Menace is my comfort movie. Fight me about it.
It's great, and anyone who says otherwise, that's your opinion, but I disagree with it. Then in a condensed way, like, I don't know if this is kind of a stretch, but like the fact that Shin also stabbed Sabine in a very similar way to Maul stabbing Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wonder that she survived that.
Qui-Gon's just like punching the air right now, dude. His Force Ghost shows up and he's like, bro! I think that's really all like the main parallels I can think of, but I just was like, oh, like there was some certain moments where I was like, very Phantom Menace, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, it definitely took some inspiration from that, and there was a part of me that was like, oh, what if they do like some inspiration from each episode in every Ahsoka episode? And then my immediate thought was like, yeah, I love it in episode 2 where Sabine just talks about how much she hates sand. But yeah, no, I couldn't really think of a lot of Attack of the Clones references in episode 2.
The only thing I can think of is that like her frustration with Anakin and like, you know, Anakin's not there in this show. Her frustration with Ahsoka and the way she was like kind of being her master is, I guess, kind of similar. It's a reach. Let me get a ladder. real quick.
No, hold on. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you remember Anakin's like,
hey,
I can be the most powerful Jedi ever.
Yeah, and Obi-Wan, he's jealous. He's holding me back. Okay, guys, keep an eye out for Ahsoka episode 3. We're just gonna try and follow this theory here and see where it goes.
I'm not very confident, but I'll go along with it.
In fact, if you look closely in Ahsoka episode 2, at the 5-minute mark, you can see Dexter Jetster in the background.
He's just talking to nobody. He's just delusional at this point. He just thinks that he sees Obi-Wan.
That's sad.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Well, anyway, Cole, that I think is everything I've got, even the little moments.
Yeah, there really isn't a lot that comes to mind right now, just because I'm so tired, and
yeah,
we already covered like a lot of the big stuff and the plot happenings. I mean the planets were cool. I really liked the set design. Seeing Corellia was cool. I thought that the world building for New Republic was good. It was consistent with, you know, the world building in Mando season 3.
Yep.
Which, you know, despite my qualms with season 3 Mando, I really liked the New Republic world building in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like overall, I mean, it's pretty consistent, and I'm starting to enjoy this, you know, New Republic era a lot more than I was previously. So
yeah, I think it helps to see someone like Hera, who is, you know, a very prominent general in the New Republic. It just kind of gives me, it just makes me happy to see.
We love Hera.
Yeah, she's great, man. I know you. You're great.
I know you. Thanks for thinking of me.
I'm trying to think. You said something, and it made me think of something else, and now one last thing. I don't really have a concrete answer to this, but I'd like to ask anyway. Any hopes for the rest of the season? I mean, I'm just kind of enjoying the ride, but...
Well, okay. Potential... So, you know, this isn't really... It's not technically spoilers because it was in an advertisement. Like, it was in one of those, like, clips. Sure. You and I have seen it, Grayson. But just for someone who, you know, doesn't watch trailers and stuff like that, I don't want to see anything. I'm going to give this only a minute of our time, so you can skip forward a minute from now, and we'll be good. So, in one of the clips, you do hear Hayden talking to Ahsoka. Like Hayden as Anakin talking to Ahsoka. So, in terms of one of my hopes... I just can't wait to see that scene, man. You know?
Yeah.
I'm just really, really excited for that. So,
yeah.
I'm not sure if it'll be a Clone Wars flashback or if we see him as a Force ghost, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah. And now, jumping off of that advertisement talk, another genuine hope that I have is just to see Force ghosts in general.
Yeah.
I know that seems like very fan servicey, but like that has always been something very special to me, is just seeing remnants of the past.
Yeah.
And just, you know, those characters really bring us together, and it ties all of these eras together.
Yeah. I agree.
And I would like to get some more building upon civilizations outside of the known Star Wars galaxy. You know, whether it be Rakatans or the Yuuzhan Vong, which would be a massive drop, you know?
Yeah, that
like
would be
imagine
wild.
if they decided to bring the Yuuzhan Vong into canon and make that like that whole big event thing that they're talking about. Plot twist, Thrawn's not the big bad, it's the Yuuzhan Vong.
That would be insane.
Yeah, that would be something. So, overall, my hopes, I think I would say just expansion of the Star Wars universe in ways that, you know, we didn't expect, or ways that are just that I love. So yeah.
Yeah. In a similar vein, I mean, mine are pretty straightforward. I completely agree with all of that. I want to get more in depth on, you know, Sabine and Ahsoka's history. How did Ahsoka figure out that Sabine had maybe a potential connection to the Force? How long was their training? That sort of thing. And what I'm most excited and looking forward to is just the learning more about our antagonists, specifically Merrick, Baylan, and Shin. I find them all incredibly cool and super interesting characters, at least with Baylan and Shin. Merrick is just the cool guy being a cool guy, you know. But listen, and I'm gonna put this out here to acknowledge something with Cole. You know, was talking about Grievous last week, and I think we had a really good discussion. But you owe it to yourself to just have a character that you like because they're just cool, man. They look cool. They do something cool. They don't have to have any development, okay? You're allowed to like a character because they just are cool.
Yeah, you could just like characters for their cool factor, you know?
Yeah. That's
like,
why do you think
okay
Boba Fett was so popular, man? Because the man looked drippy.
The guy said absolutely nothing. Like, I mean, like, except for, you know, a handful of lines that you could count on your fingers. And
then he got killed by a drunk guy, and then until he didn't.
That still makes me think of my favorite, well, one of my favorite Robot Chickens.
I knew it.
Which is that he was just drunk,
just wasted.
And that droid, the bartender droid, is like, you okay to fly, man? And he's like, trust me, Isaac, I drunk better when I drive. Oh,
dude, we gotta have a full episode just talking about Robot Chicken Star Wars skits, man. They're so funny.
The Yarl Poof.
That is
Yarl Poof
iconic
archives,
one.
basically.
Speaking of Yarl Poof, that when we first watched the episode, as soon as they were like, "Oh, it's an old Jedi code," you immediately yelled, "Yarl Poof!"
It's Yarl Poof. Actually, I'm gonna scrap everything that I just said. My hopes for Ahsoka. I hope that Yarl Poof takes the reins. I hope that he becomes it. He's like, he looks at the camera. He's like, it's not the Ahsoka show. It's the Yarl Poof show. And he just takes over.
Dude, this is the equivalent of like you wanting. Oh man, should I even bring this up right now? I'm going to. I'm gonna expose you, but also because it's funny. Your wish for the end of Mando season 3 of Boba coming in on a meteorite riding a Rancor.
So okay, I'm gonna be very clear here. I don't actually
you
want
wanted it,
or
man.
think that to happen.
I think
But all right, maybe. But when Grayson and I were watching Mando season 3, and it became more and more clear that the plot was going out of the window, and that they probably weren't going to bring Boba Fett into it. Which you know, I'm not trying to say that them not bringing in Boba Fett means that it sucks.
Yeah.
I really wanted him to be in it because I thought that, you know, they were trying to bring all of the Mandalorians together, and I thought that would be a great way to tie it all in. But I had this inside joke, or this running joke with Grayson, that Boba would just appear basically right like on top of his Rancor, crashing into the atmosphere like a meteorite, coming in to save the day.
Dude.
And so yeah, one of these days for Mortis FM, one of our designs is going to be Boba riding a Rancor meteorite, just for me.
Man. I'll make something, I guess.
But yeah, that's where that comes from.
As soon as he lands,
Book of Boba Fett season 2. Watch out, baby! Rancor meteorite. You heard it here first, folks.
Froaks?
It's like
Sorry.
combination of frogs and folks. Some frogs listen to this podcast, man.
Well, you remember there was those frog people in Mando season 2 that Yoda was eating all their eggs. Remember that?
Did you say Yoda or Baby Yoda?
Grogu, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah, come on, man.
I know, I'm sorry.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
I really did. Thank you, DJ Khaled. All right, that is going to be it for this discussion on the Ahsoka premiere. I would love to know what everybody else thought. Feel free to comment on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, check out @Mortis FM. Again, on Instagram, that is going to be the main social page. I will put it out there that if people want me to create other social pages, I will. But honestly, man, I think I'm just going to do Instagram because it just makes sense. It just works.
Check out Mortis FM on MySpace.
Nope.
Yeah,
and so I really appreciate the support from not just my friends, but people who have just happened to listen. People who I've only known for a week or I don't know at all. We both really appreciate it. We're just both two guys talking about Star Wars, as many people do, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, we're having a great time. Was that quote the?
Who's having a good time?
Oh yeah, I was about to say, it was like, is that Star Wars? No, that's Birds of Prey. Man,
but it is Ewan McGregor.
It is Ewan McGregor, so hello there. One last thing after shouting out the socials and all that. Next week, our reaction, or not reaction, but our episode on Ahsoka episode 3 will be a little bit later because I'm going out of town. Actually, Star Wars related, to go on the Galactic Star Cruiser, not for the whole trip. I'm not that wealthy, just for a few hours. So I will be up in the stars on the Halcyon Star Cruiser. But we will be back with that specific episode later next week, probably around Thursday or Friday. You will get an announcement from me on Instagram about that. And then one more housekeeping thing. Oh yes, but between then, we likely will put out another episode. It seems pretty likely. I don't want to break the flow that we're going through. So check out this weekend for another episode that is not Ahsoka related. It might be a little bit of a shorter episode, but we have a long list of things we want to talk about, and Cole and I just frankly don't get tired of talking about Star Wars. So keep an eye out for that episode. Man, Cole, you love Star Wars? I love Star Wars.
I love Star Wars, dude. I don't know if we've actually ever discussed that. Do you like Star Wars?
One could say substantially so.
That's great, man. We should do a podcast about it.
You know what? I have a great idea. Mortis FM. Check us out. Cole, do you have anything else you would like to say before the episode ends?
No. Other than one thing.
Lay it on me.
May the Force be with you.
Always.